Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan. And in an era when seeing yourself on screen is given further and further prominence from these creators in Hollywood and other places, it's unsurprising to see another such creator come out and emphasize the importance in their minds of seeing yourself on screen. Now, in and of itself, that's not really an issue, but when it's to this degree and focused on above plot, above character, prioritizing it above so much other important things, it comes off as more narcissistic than anything else. Now, I really don't have a problem with having diverse characters or anything like that. But when you say I can't enjoy something unless I'm featured on screen, that comes off as incredibly narcissistic. And when these creators say the audience cannot relate to our characters unless they perfectly reflect them, that also comes off as incredibly offensive, to be honest, as if talking down to children as your audience. So we've got another creator focusing on that idea. So diversity, not an issue. Seeing yourself on screen, cool when it happens. Not really a big deal when it doesn't happen, because there are so many characters that I relate to on screen that don't look like me. And that's fine. But Hollywood acts like that's the only way to relate to a character is if it 100% matches you. And if you focus on that, it comes off across as offensive, narcissistic, and is almost impossible to find a one-for-one match for every single person. I don't know of a single character that matches my look, personality, history 100%. It's almost impossible. So by striving to, with that as your priority, you destroy everything else that's important. Your plot goes to shambles as you just try to match all these different backgrounds, and it becomes insane to even think of a plot and a story coming out of such a jarbled mess. And that's a lot of the problems we've seen in recent years with Hollywood, is they focus on this idea of seeing yourself to such a degree that everything else is put to the wayside, and that's when we get garbage material like we have the last few years. So we actually have this article here from Bounding in Comments, breaking down the comments of America Chavez creator Joe Cassidy, saying her debut in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is extremely important because our fiction should reflect our reality. And that is absolutely not the case. The fundamental rule, or at least the base norm for entertainment, is escapism. We want to imagine a world that's different than our own, more magical than our own. The Marvel Universe is not our own universe. We don't have billionaires flying around in metal suits. We don't have ex-medical doctors waving their hands around making magic. It is very much a world that is separate from our own, and that's why we love it, is we love it for the differences. So by focusing on the fictions reflecting our reality, you lose that spark. And if it's in subtle ways, it's fine. Of course, it's going to feel a little bit like our world, and that's the case in most situations. But when you focus on it to such a degree, you destroy the magic that makes fictional universes so appealing to the audience, because they want to believe in something bigger themselves. They want to escape from the real world. They want to, get simple. They want to feel simple sometimes, and that's something that Hollywood really doesn't understand anymore, and comic book creators don't really understand anymore. So this idea of fiction should reflect our reality, occasionally, sure, there will be, non-fiction stories, there'll be historical dramas. There are stories that should reflect our reality, but that should not be the base rule. That should be really the exception to the rule, is when it does that. So to have a creator say, nope, that's rule number one, it's just really strange to see someone who's built his career off of fiction having such a weird take when it comes to his own work. But we got Bounding in Comments breaking it down for us. Ahead of her upcoming Marvel Cinematic Universe debut in Doctor Strange, America Chavez creator Joe Cassidy shared his opinion that her live-action appearance is extremely important because our fiction should reflect our reality, and reality is obviously multicultural. And yeah, I really don't have a problem with diversity as long as it's done right, with the right motivations and the right methods, and isn't used as an excuse for bad writing, because a lot of these writers have come out and said, hey, I'm not allowed to write diverse people with any sort of complexity because I'll be called racist or sexist. If they're treated as exactly equal to every other character, I don't have a problem with it. And changing characters past is also an issue. So make new characters, adapt the characters that are diverse from the canon. So America Chavez, I don't like her as a character, but I'd rather them bring America Chavez into it than do another race swap or gender swap of a pre-established white character, because they're acting like the only value in that character was in the color of their skin, and they're acting like, diverse characters don't have any value. They only see value in white characters, as young Rippa always points out. So I'd rather them do this than anything else. I still don't like the character, but it's definitely a better approach to use originally diverse characters. But yes, of course, our reality is multicultural, but if you're focusing on the mythology, for example, of a certain region, it's not going to be multicultural. If you go into Africa and study African mythology, it's going to be near 100% white, which is fine. Just like it's 100% okay to have an English mythology be 100% white, or an English story be 100% white, or an African story being 100% black, or a Chinese story being 100% Chinese. It's fine. It doesn't have to be the norm to be 100% diverse. It's just, hey, make whatever story you want. If it works out one way or the other, fine, go for it. But to say like it's our priority to be multicultural above all else, that really kills a lot of the creativity. It really boxes in writers in ways that they don't necessarily need to be boxed into. Casey, who penned Chavez's first appearance in 2011, shared his thoughts. Yep, repeating yourself again, Bounding. Responding to an email inquiry on the topic from the outlet, Casey asserted, it's extremely important, mainly in the sense that our fiction should, in very significant and fundamental ways, reflect our reality. Still, very much disagree with that, but that's like the fourth time they've said it. And unlike the MCU, depicted in the early 1960s, reality is often multicultural. Oh, so he attacked the old stuff. It's always great to see someone attack the stuff that people grew up loving. That's really something people want to hear. Definitely. Our superheroes should be too. Marvel characters like America Chavez, Miles Morales is a derivative character, and so is Kamala Khan, so I don't count them in the same category as America Chavez. America Chavez is mostly original character, so I definitely value her more than I value these other two, because these ones are just repaints of old characters, and it's like, ooh, you love Spider-Man? Love this character. Love him, love him, love him. It's not Spider-Man. No, you're supposed to love him or you're racist. It's like, make a new character. That's fine. Make new shit. I've always been more on board on making new shit or adapting stuff that is already diverse, because there is a lot of diverse stuff out there. There's a lot of old gay superheroes that they're refusing to adapt. They're just throwing away to make new characters gay. That's just a wrong approach. With America Chavez in particular, there's a real connection that really seems to transcend the comment. So yeah, he says our reality or our fiction should reflect our reality. Doesn't America Chavez come from the utopian dimension where there are no men and it's perfect and sunshine and rainbows and nothing ever is wrong just because it's all women? That doesn't exactly reflect reality. Just saying. Hopefully the moviegoer audience will make that same kind of connection when they see America Chavez. I'm really not a fan of her character. I don't like her whole origin and her whole motivation. She just doesn't seem like a good person. And so I don't care about the actress. If I was 15 years old and I got offered a job in Marvel, I would take it. No questions asked. So this has nothing to do with her. I actually have a video breaking down a bunch of left-wing people attacking her because of her ethnicity. And that's completely wrong. It's not her fault. She's fucking 15 years old. Leave her alone. Turning to the topic of the character's actress, Casey affirmed that he put his faith in the fact that if there's one thing the Marvel Studios particularly excels at, it's casting the right actor for the right role. From what little I've seen, she seems really, really enthusiastic for the role. I'm rooting for her to knock it out of the park. At least he's saying that, because yeah, there were a lot of people attacking her for taking the role for not being 100% right ethnicity-wise. Like, she's a tad too light apparently, so they called it light washing. But she's of the right ethnicity or right heritage, but it's never going to be enough. So at least I do have to give him props for not jumping on that particular wagon. Noting, just being able to see her alongside the iconic character of Doctor Strange is extremely cool. So yeah, crossovers, like, they act like just being next to someone important gives that person value. To me, what gives a new character a degree of legitimacy that's often very necessary when you've got a long continuity. Yeah, that's fine. However, yeah. Wow, they depicted America Chavez looking like that. I'm very surprised that they were willing to show her like that. Don't have a problem with it. I don't really care one way or another, but I'm surprised if nothing else. So yeah, just going into it more in detail, and the A-Force, other spin-offs, stuff like this that they're planning on doing in future. But the idea that our world has to reflect, or our fiction has to reflect our reality, is a fundamentally broken approach that defeats the whole purpose of fiction as a genre. It devalues it as a whole. The number one rule and the norm should be escapism. Onesie-twosies that aren't escapism is fine, but there should be a default. And of course, those escapism should be multicultural when it makes sense. But sometimes it makes sense to be all black, like Black Panther. Sometimes it makes sense to be all white, like Lord of the Rings. It's okay. It should not be your number one approach. And our fiction should not reflect our reality in the majority of situations. And even this writer knows that the utopian dimension does not reflect our reality. So he's not even, writing it accurately to his comments here. But, we'll see how good America Chavez ends up being in Doctor Strange. I'm not looking forward to that movie. It's just like there's everything I'm excited about is inverted by something I'm equally not looking forward to. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Anon. If you like what I do here and want to see good, compelling stories that Hollywood will no longer give you, check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues. Books 1, Down in Flames, and Book 2, Apocalypse Then, currently on sale. Book 3, Kill the Dark, coming soon.